You know, it really wasn't that long ago that the message from the top seemed crystal clear. AI was coming for our jobs. But is that really how this story is playing out? Let's get into it.
I mean, tech giants like Amazon, Microsoft, and Google were practically shouting it from the rooftops. They were so confident, announcing layoffs and telling everyone that AI was about to take over. The promise? It was simple. Massive efficiency by just replacing people with smart tech.
And then, reality hit. Hard. All of a sudden, the whole story started to flip. A study by OrgView found that a majority of senior business leaders who swapped out employees for AI now deeply regret it. So what on earth went so wrong?
To really get why they regret it, you first have to understand the dream. And oh, what a dream it was. This idea of perfect, almost sci-fi levels of automation. The goal was to build the machine that builds the machine, a system so flawless it wouldn't need any clumsy, inefficient humans getting in the way.
And look, this wasn't just about factory floors anymore, not even close. The ambition was to bring this logic to all kinds of white-collar work. Companies were aiming to automate everything from your customer service calls to the articles you read online to really complex data analysis. The scope was just massive.
But as companies rushed headfirst into this dream, well, it started to unravel pretty quickly, leading to this huge cascade of failures. Let's look at some of the most eye-opening examples.
Okay, so let's start with Tesla. Way back in 2017, they went all in on automation for their Model 3 factory. The goal was to pump out an incredible 5,000 cars a week using an assembly line run almost entirely by robots. I mean, this was the ultimate test of that automation promise.
And it was a complete disaster. The machine that builds the machine just kept breaking. Robots that were supposed to install car seats were failing up to 5 times a day. Just to give you some context, the industry standard is maybe 1 failure a month. Production goals weren't just missed, they were basically a fantasy at that point. This all led to a pretty stunning admission from Elon Musk himself in April 2018. He actually tweeted, "Humans are underrated." In a wild move, Tesla had to build a temporary manual assembly line in a tent just to get cars built, with human workers stepping in to do what the failing robots couldn't. It's a perfect illustration of the limits of going too far with automation.
Now let's jump to a totally different world. Customer service. The payment company Klarna went big, replacing hundreds of their agents with AI chatbots. They cut their workforce by a staggering 40%, totally convinced that AI could handle everything.
Well, the results were not good. Leaked internal data showed that in just the first 3 months, it took customers 27% longer to get their problems solved, and the number of unsatisfactory chats shot up by 35%. The AI just couldn't handle the nuance and the judgment calls that humans do so naturally.
And this wasn't just Tesla or Klarna having a bad day. It was a pattern popping up everywhere. Taco Bell's automated voice ordering, full of errors. Duolingo tried an AI-first approach to content, which led to a 42% error rate and a drop in users. Telstra saw their customer response times jump by 25%. The evidence was just piling up.
These stories are powerful, right? But when you look at the industry-wide data, it paints an even clearer and frankly more sobering picture of what was happening.
And here it is again, that headline number. More than half, 55% of senior leaders who went down this replacement path now wish they hadn't. That is a massive reversal from the bold confidence we were hearing just a year or two ago.
Okay, so what about the return on investment? You know, the money. Well, a study from MIT found that a jaw-dropping 93% of these AI initiatives produce no measurable results, 0. Only a tiny 7% actually generate a significant return. It just goes to show how hard this is to get right without a real strategy.
And the financial pain went way beyond a failed investment. On average, companies saw a 22% spike in employees voluntarily quitting in the first 6 months. This created what people started calling office paranoia, this feeling of dread that just kills morale. And of course, all this led to customer satisfaction falling off a cliff.
So where does that leave us? Well, it's forced a huge rethink across the board. The whole conversation is now shifting away from replacing people and toward a much smarter, more nuanced idea: collaboration.
Let's just break down this shift in mindset. The old goal of full, hands-off automation is being replaced by human supervision. Instead of just seeing AI as a cost-cutting tool, the focus is now on real efficiency. And, maybe most importantly, instead of devaluing people, smart companies are now totally focused on upskilling them.
So what does this better path actually look like? Well, it means being really strategic about where you apply AI. It means investing a ton in training your people. And it means being crystal clear about your goals, always finding that balance between the awesome power of technology and what humans do best. And the data shows this shift is really happening. A full 80% of leaders are now planning to train their employees to use AI tools, not be replaced by them. And 41% have already increased their learning and development budgets to make it happen. This is a real change.
And when companies get this right, the results are incredible. We're talking productivity boosts of up to 35%, operational costs dropping by 27%, and employees getting back anywhere from 1 to 5 hours every single week. Now this is what success looks like.
Look, if you take just one thing away from this whole thing, let it be this. The evidence is absolutely overwhelming. AI is a phenomenal tool for augmenting and enhancing what people do, but it's a terrible and very costly replacement for them.
So, the great replacement? It isn't happening. Instead, we're right at the beginning of what you might call the great collaboration. And that leaves us with a much more exciting question. How are we, the humans in the loop, going to design this powerful new partnership?